Fox Sports' Jay Glazer broke the news that the Jets are expected to part ways with Aaron Rodgers, and we've seen reactions all around the league, and even some of the Jets players have kind of gave their thoughts. So let's talk to my guy, Matt O'Leary of the Just Jets podcast, to see how the fans are feeling about this. Matt, what's going on, my man?
Not too much. It was a hectic day yesterday in Jets land as everyone was reacting to the Aaron Rodgers news. A lot of unhappy Jets fans I found yesterday.
Yeah, man. I mean, they kind of just snuck that news in there, kind of like a Friday dump when it comes to news. But they snuck that in there, knowing that everyone's going to be talking about, the Super Bowl. But SNY's Connor Hughes had kind of tweeted that the Jets haven't released an official statement on it just yet. But he also said that Jay Glazer, no one in the business has a batting average of Jay Glazer. So you think they're officially going to move on from Aaron Rodgers? And the second part to that question is, do you think that Aaron could be a fit for Aaron Glenn's Aaron Glenn coach team?
Yeah, I think this is likely the way that it's gonna go. I trust Jay Glazer. He's usually on the money with this stuff. And then you had some of the other insiders kind of saying the same thing, whether it be Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. So I personally can't say that I'm all that surprised that a new regime would come in here and kind of want to do things their way. Answering your question on if Aaron Rodgers could be an Aaron Glenn guy. I don't know if we have that answer or not. If he was willing to come back and take the pay cut and be all in on learning the Tanner Engstrand offense, maybe that's one thing and you give it a go. But I don't know if at 41 years old, how keen Aaron Rodgers is going to be on just being another one of the 53 guys on the roster and really letting Tanner Engstrand have his run of the mill on the offensive side of the ball. So at the end of the day, I honestly can't say I'm all that surprised that this is the result that ended up happening
Yeah, and
here.
I think one thing that we saw in the Super Bowl last night was that you can't, no matter what quarterback you have, you can have the greatest quarterback in the game right now. If you can't protect him, and if that quarterback can't get away from the trenches, from the offense, from a nasty defensive line, then it's like, why even have him back there? And the Aaron Rodgers, I thought, kind of picked things up towards the end of the season last year. But I'm always saying the statue quarterbacks, I feel as though is like the Tasmanian devil. They're an extinct animal in the NFL. But shortly after that news broke, Matt saw Quentin Williams kind of tweet out a thumbs down to the news, and he was talking about having to go through a rebuilding year. You think they're not on board with Aaron, the Jets not bringing Aaron Rodgers back?
I think some guys are probably not going to be too keen on that, but my response to it would be, well, last year with Aaron Rodgers, they won 5 games. So I get it. Some of the guys are probably going to think that he gives them their best chance to win. And maybe in a vacuum, you can make the case that if the Jets are trying to win in 2025, maybe he does. But based on everything that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji were saying, in their press conference, it feels like they're looking at 2025 and beyond. And, with the cap ramifications of bringing Aaron Rodgers back and who knows, maybe some of the locker room implications. I think if Rodgers did come back, it would be very hard for this to become fully Aaron Glenn's team until he was gone. And maybe this is him just kind of ripping the band-aid off and saying, we could find someone, maybe not give you the same exact production, but give you similar production at a cheaper cost and someone who's not going to be such a polarizing figure. And look, I get it. So, some guys in that locker room absolutely loved Aaron Rodgers, and they love the veteran presence that he gave to this team. Um, but football's a business, and at the same time, like, yeah, maybe in 2025 they could win more games with Aaron Rodgers over, let's say, Tyrod Taylor, for example. But building the culture and trying to get the cap situation in the right spot for 25 and beyond, I think it was probably the best decision to move on from Aaron Rodgers to do just
I
that.
got a video of me talking to Sauce Gardner at the Fanatics party, and this was Saturday, so the news hadn't broke yet. And I kind of asked him if he and Aaron had any communication about his plans. And here's Sauce's response. Hey, what do you think about the new hire, man? Aaron Glenn's the head coach.
Oh man, I love it. You know, I got a chance to meet them. You know, a few days ago. Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes, basically all the coaches, and man, I love it. I love them, and I love everything that they bring in.
You still got those bears in the backyard, man?
Nah, I put the fence up. We good now.
How's that golf game so far in this off season?
I'll be shooting like the mid-80s consistently. I broke 80 once last week, so you know we getting there.
You and Aaron Rodgers had that handshake. Who created that?
He created it.
Yeah. Has he texted you about 2025? You guys talked about that?
Nah, we just be talking about golf. Okay. Stuff like that. You know?
All right, have fun in there, man. Good luck next season, bro. Keep balling.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, so he didn't give me what I wanted there, Matt. You know, he kind of just talked about them, you know, talking about golf and all that. But again, here's another player that Sauce Gardner loves, Aaron Rodgers. Would it almost be good for the Jets to bring him back just to keep the locker room intact and not have guys upset or questioning the direction of the franchise?
I get where those guys are coming from. And again, as I mentioned, like I'm not really all that surprised that there are guys in that locker room that really do like Aaron Rodgers and, you know, his kind of steady veteran presence. But I think it's going to be up to Aaron Glenn to sell these guys on his vision. And listening to him speak, I don't think it would be all that hard for him to do. I get it. Maybe the initial shock is going to be tough on this locker room and tough on some of these guys. Like Quinnen Williams had those tweets. He did bring him down. So I don't know if, it was a change of heart or someone maybe talked to him about it. But I think Aaron Glenn's going to have to sell his vision and hopefully get this team to buy into it. And it appears like that vision doesn't include Aaron Rodgers.
Well, when we talk about that vision, what would be that splash signing during free agency that you think that the fan base will look at and be like, okay, this guy is starting off with a bang, and this organization is headed in the right direction going into this new season? Outside of quarterback.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if we're gonna get a major splash at the quarterback spot this offseason. Honestly, it's not really all that sexy, but maybe a move on the defensive side of the ball. I just think you look at this team and how much they struggled defensively last year. I think they really need some help. They probably need two new starting safeties. You look at, CJ Mosley potentially moving on this year, as well as a veteran who is really banged up at the linebacker spot. I think they need to find someone desperately to play next to Quinnen Williams on the interior of that defensive line. I don't know if there's one name in particular that jumps out as like, oh, this would be the perfect fit for the Jets, a splashy fix anywhere. But for me, I look for, like, what kind of guys is he looking for in this free agent group? Is he going to go back to the well of guys in Detroit that he's coached? Or, with Darren Muji and his ties to the Denver Broncos, are they going to go looking at former Denver Broncos? But I think it's going to be more about the kind of players he's looking for and what positional groups they're really putting an emphasis on. We talked a lot about in this video alone, the trenches and the offensive and defensive line. I think the defensive line's got a long way to go, so I think I'd start there.
Well, at least we can officially put 2024 behind us, both as Jets and Giants fans and content creators. Hey, Matt, thanks for hopping on with us, man. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about this offseason, my man, so I'll have you back on soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.